You have been lied to. This is the first truth you must accept before we can go any further. The lie has been repeated so many times by so many authorities, by your parents, by your teachers, by every movie and television show you have ever watched, that you no longer recognize it as a lie. You think it is the natural order of things. You think it is simply how the world works, but it is not. And the proof is standing right in front of you, in the wreckage of your own romantic life. Think back. Think back to the last time you really wanted a woman. Not just casually, not just physically, but truly wanted her. The kind of wanting that kept you up at night. The kind that made your chest tight when her name appeared on your phone. What did you do? If you are like most men, you tried to be good. You tried to be kind. You listened to her problems. You remembered the little details. You showed up when she needed you. You tried to prove that you were the safe option, the reliable one, the man who would never hurt her. And somewhere along the way, you watched her eyes glaze over. You watched her enthusiasm fade into politeness. You watched her drift towards someone else, someone who didn't seem to try at all, someone who seemed almost indifferent to her. Someone who, frankly, treated her worse than you ever would. And you sat there, in the aftermath, utterly confused. You did everything right. You followed the instructions. Why did you fail? The answer is simple, and it is brutal. You were following the wrong instructions. You were playing a game whose rules you did not understand, and the referee was never going to explain them to you. In this video, we're going to dissect the one thing women truly want. We're going to strip away every layer of social conditioning, every romantic fantasy, every politically correct narrative, and look directly at the raw, biological truth. It is not what you've been told. It is not what you want to hear. But it is what you need to hear if you ever want to stop being confused, stop being used, and start understanding the fundamental dynamics that have governed the interaction between men and women since we lived in caves. Let us begin. To understand what women actually want, you must first understand what they do not want. And what they do not want is the modern, domesticated, feminized male that contemporary culture is trying to manufacture. Look at the image of the good man that is presented to you. He is agreeable, he is soft, he is endlessly communicative about his feelings. He asks for permission before everything. He treats women with such delicate care that they might shatter if handled too firmly. He is, in essence, a woman with a male body. This image is promoted everywhere. It is in the advertisements showing the sensitive father gently caring for his child. It is in the corporate seminars about toxic masculinity that tell men to be more like their female colleagues. It is in the relationship advice columns that tell men to just listen and validate her feelings and never raise your voice. And yet, if this model were accurate, the men who embodied it would be the most successful in dating. They would be drowning in female attention. But they are not. They are the ones posting on internet forums asking why women only want bad boys. They are the ones being friend-zoned by women who then go home to men who treat them with far less consideration. They are the ones who are lonely, confused, and quietly resentful. Why? Because the model is not just wrong, it is inverted. It takes every quality that women actually desire, and it replaces it with the opposite. It takes strength and calls it toxicity. It takes confidence and calls it arrogance. It takes emotional stability and calls it coldness. It takes the masculine frame and tries to reshape it into a feminine one. And women, at the deepest level of their biology, do not want a feminine man. They may say they do, they may believe they do. The modern woman will tell you with complete sincerity that she wants a man who is in touch with his emotions and not afraid to be vulnerable. But watch what she does, not what she says. Watch who she sleeps with, not who she claims to admire. Watch who she stays with through difficulty, not who she recommends to her single friends. The gap between what women say and what women want is the Grand Canyon of human psychology, and most men spend their entire lives trying to bridge that canyon with words, with logic, with good behavior. They think that if they can just explain themselves well enough, if they can just prove their worth, the woman will see reason and choose them. But desire does not respond to reason. Desire responds to something far deeper, far older, and far less polite. Let us go back, way back. Back before cities, before writing, before agriculture, back to the savannah where the human brain was forged in the fire of survival. In that world, life was not about finding yourself or having your needs met. Life was about one thing: not dying. And for a woman, not dying meant making one single crucial choice correctly, the choice of a mate. Consider the stakes. If a woman chose poorly, it was not a matter of a bad relationship and an awkward breakup. If she chose poorly, she died. Her children died. Her genetic line ended right there in the jaws of a predator or the starvation of a winter with no food. So evolution built a mechanism, a scanning system, a filter so deep, so automatic that the woman herself is not even aware it is running. This filter is constantly evaluating every man she meets against one single criterion: can he handle the chaos? Look at the world of our ancestors. It was chaos incarnate. Predators, competing tribes, disease, famine, injury. In that world, the man who survived was not necessarily the strongest, though strength helped. He was not necessarily the smartest, though intelligence helped. He was the man who could remain calm under pressure, the man whose heart rate did not spike when the lion roared, the man who could look at a bleeding wound and decide, coldly and clearly, what to do next, the man who could be shot with an arrow and still keep fighting. This man was valuable, not because he was nice, not because he was a good listener, but because he was a shield. He was the one who could stand between his woman, his children, and the endless chaos of the world and not break. This is the biological imperative. This is the deep code written into the female psyche over hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. And it has not changed. It cannot change. The world around you has changed completely, but the brain you are using to navigate it is still in many ways the brain of a hunter-gatherer. When a modern woman looks at a man, that ancient scanning system is still running. It is not looking at his salary, though that is a modern proxy. It is not looking at his car, though that is another proxy. It is looking for signs, signs of weakness, signs of strength, signs that this man would crumble when things get hard, signs that this man would stand firm. And the modern, domesticated male, the one who has been trained to be soft, agreeable, and emotionally expressive, is setting off every alarm in that ancient system. He is sending signals of weakness. He is signaling that he cannot handle the chaos. And a woman, at the deepest level of her being, cannot truly desire a man she cannot believe can protect her. This is hard to hear. It is uncomfortable. It contradicts everything you've been taught about equality and partnership and modern love. But the uncomfortable story is not the same as falsehood. And your confusion, your loneliness, your romantic failures, these are the evidence that the comfortable story is not working. There is a word for this filtering mechanism, though it has been misunderstood and misused. The word is hypergamy. Hypergamy is often defined simply as women marrying up, but this is a shallow definition. Hypergamy is the innate drive to secure the highest quality mate possible, and quality to the ancient female brain means one thing: genetic and protective superiority. In the animal kingdom, this is everywhere. The female peahen does not choose the male with the dullest feathers. She chooses the brightest, the most elaborate, because that display signals health, vitality, and good genes. The female lion does not mate with the weakest male in the pride. She mates with the one who fought his way to the top. Human beings are not exempt from this dynamic. We have simply dressed it up in suits and social media profiles. But underneath the clothing, underneath the education, underneath the carefully curated Instagram persona, the same ancient calculus is happening. A woman is biologically programmed to seek the highest value man she can attract, and value, in that ancient calculus, is not determined by how nicely you treat her. It is determined by your position in the hierarchy of men. This is why women are so sensitive to social proof. This is why a man who is desired by other women becomes instantly more desirable to every woman. It is not just jealousy or competition, it's a shortcut. If other women want him, the reasoning goes, he must be high value, he must have passed the tests, he must be worth investigating. This is also why nice guys struggle. The nice guy is trying to trade kindness for affection. He is offering behavior instead of status. He is trying to negotiate desire, as if it were a business transaction. If I am nice to you, you should want me. But desire does not work that way. Desire is not a reward for good behavior. Desire is a response to perceived value. And the man who is desperately trying to be nice, who is orbiting, who is always available, who is putting her needs above his own, this man is signaling that he has low value. He is signaling that he has nothing better to do. He is signaling that he is beneath her in the hierarchy, looking up, hoping she will toss him a scrap of attention. And a woman cannot look up to a man who is looking up to her. It is geometrically impossible. This brings us to one of the most misunderstood aspects of female psychology, the test. Every man has experienced this. You are talking to a woman, things seem to be going well, and then, suddenly, she says something challenging. She criticizes you. She disagrees with you forcefully. She brings up something you did wrong last week. She gets emotional about something that seems trivial. And your instinct, your modern, conditioned, nice guy instinct, is to respond, to defend yourself, to explain, to apologize, to try to fix the problem and make her feel better. Do not do this. What you are experiencing is not a problem to be solved. It is a test to be passed. It is the ancient scanning system doing its job. She is poking the structure to see if it creaks. Think of it this way. If you were considering boarding a ship to cross a dangerous ocean, you would want to know if the ship was seaworthy. You might kick the hull. You might look for cracks. You might ask hard questions of the captain. You would not simply climb aboard because the ship was painted a pretty color. The woman is testing your hull. She is seeing what happens when pressure is applied. And what she is looking for is not a perfect response. She is not looking for the right words. She is looking for emotional stability. She is looking to see if you will remain centered, calm, and unmoved by her chaos. If you react emotionally, if you get defensive, if you get angry, if you get sad, if you try desperately to appease her, you have failed the test. You have shown that your emotional state is controlled by her. You have shown that you are weaker than her chaos. And a woman cannot trust a weak man to protect her. But if you remain calm, if you do not take her challenge personally, if you hold your frame, maintain your composure, and perhaps even smile slightly at the absurdity of the situation, you pass. You have shown that you are the stable center. You have shown that her emotions, however intense, are just weather passing over your mountain. You remain. This is what women mean, though they cannot articulate it, when they say they want a man who is confident or secure. They are describing, in the limited vocabulary of modern psychology, the man who can pass the test, the man who cannot be knocked off his center. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow. The shadow is the part of ourselves that we repress, the part we hide from the world, the part that contains all the qualities we deem unacceptable. And in the modern world, the masculine shadow has been deeply repressed. Men have been told that their natural aggression is wrong, their competitiveness is toxic, their desire to lead is patriarchal, their strength is dangerous. So they push these things down. They hide them. They try to become the soft, agreeable man the culture demands. But the shadow does not disappear. It festers. It emerges in passive aggression, in resentment, in quiet desperation. And women can sense it. They can sense that something is missing. They can sense that the man in front of them is not whole. Because here is the uncomfortable truth. Women do not want a man who has no shadow. They want a man who has integrated his shadow. They want a man who is capable of aggression but has it under control. They want a man who could be dangerous but chooses not to be. They want the lion who chooses to lie down with the lamb, not the lamb who pretends to be a lion. This is the archetype of the dangerous man who is gentle with me. It is everywhere in female fantasy. It is Mr. Darcy, brooding and powerful, who softens only for Elizabeth. It is the hero of every romance novel, strong, capable, slightly dangerous, but devoted to the heroine. It is not the weak man. It is never the weak man. The weak man is safe, but he is not desirable because his safety comes from his inability to do harm, not from his choice to refrain from it. There's a difference. A sheep is safe around your children. A wolf who chooses not to bite is something else entirely. And women, biologically, are wired to prefer the wolf who chooses restraint. This is why the bad boy is so often desired. It is not because women want to be treated badly. It is because the bad boy, whatever his faults, has not repressed his shadow. He has access to his masculine core. He is not weak. The problem with the bad boy is that he has not integrated his shadow. He is controlled by it. But women are often willing to accept this imperfection because the alternative, the completely shadowless domesticated male, is so profoundly unattractive. The solution is not to become a bad boy. The solution is to become integrated, to reclaim the parts of yourself you have been told to hide, to become a man who is strong enough to be gentle, not gentle because he is too weak to be anything else. Now we must look at how the modern world exploits this dynamic. We live in an age of unprecedented abundance. A woman today, if she is reasonably attractive, has access to more male attention in a single day than her great-grandmother had in a lifetime. Dating apps give her an endless stream of options. Social media gives her a constant supply of validation. The market is flooded with men offering their attention, their affection, their commitment. What happens when any resource becomes abundant? Its value decreases, and male attention has become nearly worthless. In this environment, women are forced to become even more selective. The filtering mechanism becomes hypersensitive. Small flaws become deal breakers. Minor insecurities become repulsive. Because why settle for a man with a small crack in his hull when there are 1,000 other ships in the harbor? This creates a feedback loop. Men, sensing that they are easily replaceable, become more desperate. They try harder. They offer more. They become needier. And the more they do this, the more they signal low value, and the more replaceable they become. The modern world has taken the ancient need for a strong, stable man and turned it into a torture device for the insecure. It dangles the possibility of connection, of love, of sex, in front of men who are starving for it, and then watches as they debase themselves trying to reach it. And the tragedy is that the men who succeed are not the ones who try hardest. They are the ones who are least desperate, the ones who have other options, the ones who, paradoxically, seem to need women the least. This is the ultimate irony of desire. The more you need it, the more it eludes you. The more you can walk away from it, the more it chases you. So what do you do with this information? How do you navigate a world where your natural instincts have been warped by culture, where your biology is at odds with modern morality, where the rules are constantly changing and no one will explain them to you? The Stoics had an answer, and it is the only answer that has ever worked. You focus on what you can control. You cannot control what women want. You cannot control the modern dating market. You cannot control the biological imperatives that have shaped the female psyche for hundreds of thousands of years. You cannot control that your value is constantly being assessed and compared, but you can control yourself. You can control your own development. You can become the man who can handle the chaos, not for women, but for yourself. Because at the end of the day, the ability to remain calm under pressure, to hold your frame, to integrate your shadow, these things are not just tools for attracting women, they are the foundations of a life worth living. The man who is emotionally stable, physically capable, financially independent, and psychologically integrated does not need to worry about what women want. He is the thing they want, not because he is trying to be, but because he has become what every human, male or female, deep down wants to be. A person who can face the chaos of existence and not break. This is the path. It is not easy. It requires you to stop blaming women for their nature, stop blaming society for the trap it has set, and take complete responsibility for your own development. It requires you to stop seeking validation and start building value. It requires you to stop trying to be what women say they want and start becoming what your deepest self knows you should be. So what is the only thing women truly want? It is not love, though love can grow from it. It is not money, though money can be a sign of it. It is not looks, though looks can hint at it. It is the capacity for action in the face of chaos. It is the unshakable core. It is the man who cannot be moved. Women want the man who can walk into a room full of strangers and not need anything from them. The man who can hear criticism and not crumble. The man who can face danger and not flinch. The man who can hold her when she falls apart, not because he is trying to fix her, but because he is not threatened by her chaos. They want the mountain, not the weather. And the tragedy is that most men spend their entire lives trying to be good weather. They try to be sunny, agreeable, pleasant. But weather changes. Weather is unreliable. Weather is controlled by forces outside itself. The mountain simply exists. The mountain does not need your approval. The mountain does not change with your moods. The mountain is just there, solid, enduring, unmoved by the storms that rage around it. That is what she wants. That is what every woman, in every culture, in every era, has wanted. Not because she is shallow, not because she is manipulative, but because for 200,000 years, that mountain was the difference between life and death. And that calculus is written so deep in her DNA that no amount of modern conditioning can erase it. You can resent this truth. You can deny it. You can try to wish it away. But the truth does not care about your feelings. It simply is. And it will continue to shape your life, whether you acknowledge it or not. The only question is whether you will remain a victim of it, confused and resentful, or whether you will use this knowledge to begin the hardest and most important work of your life, the work of becoming the mountain. The choice, as it always has been, is yours.